You are 400 miles above the planet in the exosphere, and the first thing that kills you is not the cold, it's the absence of pressure. Water doesn't need heat to boil, it needs somewhere to go. Out here, nothing is pressing back, so the saliva on your tongue starts bubbling, and the fluid in your soft tissue begins turning to vapor inside you. The medical term is ebullism. You have about 15 seconds of useful consciousness left, running on the oxygen already in your blood, and then your brain switches off. That number isn't a guess. In 1966, a NASA technician named Jim LeBlanc was inside a vacuum chamber when the pressure hose on his suit came loose. The last thing he remembered was the water on his tongue starting to boil. He was unconscious in roughly 15 seconds. He lived because someone slammed the chamber back to pressure in time. Out here, nobody is going to do that for you. That's layer 1. 12 layers straight down, and every single one takes your body apart in a different way. A few of them will kill you the way you'd expect, most of them will not, and the ones that surprise you are the ones worth paying attention to. Drop to the thermosphere somewhere between 55 and 370 miles up. The temperature here can reach 2,000 degrees Celsius, around 3,600 Fahrenheit, hotter than lava, and it will not burn you. Here's why. Temperature only describes how fast individual particles are moving. Heat is energy actually transferring into you, and that requires particles to hit you. Up here, the air is so thin that the molecules almost never make contact. Each one is screaming along at an absurd speed, and there are so few of them that you'd feel nothing. You would freeze to death in the hottest layer of the atmosphere. I want you to sit with that because it's the first sign that your instincts are worthless on this trip. You are about to descend through the most familiar object in your life, the planet you were born on, and almost none of it works the way it looks from the ground. If that flipped something in your head, hit the like button. It's the only signal that tells YouTube to put this in front of the next person whose intuition is about to get taken apart. 11 layers left. The Mesosphere, 30 to 55 miles up. This is the coldest place on Earth, minus 100 Celsius, around minus 150 Fahrenheit. And this is also the layer where meteors catch fire and burn out. The coldest place on the planet is where rocks ignite. There is finally enough air here to create real friction against something moving fast enough, but nowhere near enough to hold any warmth for you. You get the fire and none of the heat. Below that, the stratosphere and the ozone layer sitting inside it. This is the shield. Ozone absorbs the ultraviolet radiation that would otherwise cook the surface of your eyes and strip your skin. Standing above it, unprotected, you're not being warmed by the sun. You're being irradiated by it. When Felix Baumgartner rode a balloon to the top of the stratosphere and stepped off, the pressure suit wasn't for the fall. It was for everything that would happen to him before the fall, because at around 12 miles, you hit a line called the Armstrong limit, and this is where the planet stops negotiating. At that altitude, the air pressure drops so low that water boils at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Your own body temperature, your blood, your tears, the moisture lining your lungs. Not because it's hot, because there's nothing left holding it down. People love arguing about where space officially begins. 62 miles? Some line drawn by committee. Your body settled that question a long time ago, and it put the border at 12. Everything above the Armstrong limit is space as far as your blood is concerned. Keep dropping. 5 miles up, the summit of Everest, the death zone. And this one is different because there's air here. Real air, breathable air, roughly a third of what you get at sea level. It just isn't enough. Your blood can't load enough oxygen to keep your organs supplied, so your body starts making decisions. Fluid leaks into your brain and it begins to swell against your skull. Judgment goes first, then coordination, then the part of you that understands you're in danger. Meanwhile, your body, unable to digest food properly at that altitude, starts consuming its own muscle to stay running. You are being eaten from the inside by yourself. Nobody acclimatizes to the death zone. You can only be there on a timer, and then you land. Sea level, the one band on this entire vertical line where a human being can stand still and simply exist. No suit, no tank, no timer. Now look at what that band actually is. Earth's radius is about 4,000 miles. The strip you can survive in, unassisted, is a few hundred feet of usable range. 0.003% of the distance to the center. Every city, every war, every person who has ever lived, every argument anyone has ever had, all of it happened inside a film so thin that if you drew this planet accurately on paper, the habitable part would be thinner than the pencil line. And we're not done. We're halfway. Because everything above you was trying to kill you with absence. No pressure, no air, no protection. Everything below you is going to try to kill you with the opposite problem. Too much of everything. 2.5 miles down, the Mponeng gold mine, the deepest place humans have ever physically stood. The rock face down there sits at around 150 Fahrenheit before anyone touches it. They pump slurry ice down the shafts just to make the air survivable. And the rock itself is under so much strain from the weight above it that it fails explosively. They call it a rock burst. The wall doesn't crack. It detonates and it fires stone at you like shrapnel with no warning at all. 7.5 miles down, the Kola Superdeep Borehole, 40,000 feet, the deepest hole anyone has ever drilled, and you've probably heard some version of a story about what they supposedly found down there. They didn't find anything. They stopped in 1992 for a reason so boring it's almost disappointing. The rock hit around 356 Fahrenheit, and at that temperature, it stopped behaving like rock. It went plastic. It flowed. Every hole they cut started closing itself behind the drill bit, like pushing a stick into wet clay. Earth didn't hide a secret from us. It just got soft, and the drill had nothing left to bite. That's the whole story of going down, by the way. It was never about pressure. It was always about heat. And past the crust, in the mantle, there's no version of this where you're a person anymore. Over 1800 Fahrenheit, with the entire weight of the crust bearing down. You wouldn't have seconds of consciousness. There would be no interval between arriving and being gone. Which brings us to the two layers underneath all of that. And to a genuine contradiction I want to explain properly, because the center of this planet does something that shouldn't be physically possible. If you want it, subscribe, because this is the part that changes how the rest of the video reads. Here it is. The outer core, liquid iron and nickel at around 7,200 Fahrenheit. An ocean of molten metal bigger than the moon, and it's moving. That motion is what generates Earth's magnetic field, the thing deflecting the solar radiation that would otherwise strip the atmosphere off this planet the way it did on Mars. So the single most instantly lethal region on this list is also the only layer actively keeping you alive. It has been doing that your entire life, from 4,000 miles away, and you have never once thought about it. And at the very center, the inner core, around 9,400 Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the sun. And it is solid. Not solid because it cooled down. Solid because the weight of the entire planet is crushing inward on it from every direction at once. And under that pressure, the iron atoms physically cannot move far enough apart to become liquid. Heat is pushing them apart. Pressure is winning. The hottest object you will ever be near is frozen stiff by the sheer mass of everything stacked above it, including you. So run the whole thing back. 400 miles up, 15 seconds of consciousness, 4,000 miles down, hotter than the sun. And wedged between those two, one absurd sliver where water stays liquid, air stays breathable, and your blood stays inside your body. You don't live on Earth. You live on the one seam where it forgets to kill you.